Okay, well.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to New Collar Entertainment. This is Matt.
There I am.
This is Juice.
And it's Squeezy Sidechick Wednesday!
Squeezy Sidechick Wednesday!
We are continuing our movie watch and discussion series, and there are ants all over me. By the way, the fence is mended.
Yay!
There's
What's
also
up,
an
man-bees?
ant hill right next to the
Oh, is there really?
fence
That's
where I needed
lovely.
to fix it.
Yay!
So that's the thing. Today, we are discussing a movie.
And what movie would that be?
A classic movie. A fantastic movie.
Alright. What
I'm
movie?
trying to share the stream so I can stall.
Oh, okay.
Ready to actually say the movie. There we go. Sharing, shared. Okay, cool. We're discussing Twister! The 1996 classic that is about two storm chasers on the brink of divorce must work together to create an advanced weather alert system by putting themselves in the crosshairs of extremely violent tornadoes.
Recently violent, actually.
I'm good with that description. That is good for me.
Okay. So it stars Helen Hunt.
Yep, top billing.
Bill Paxton.
That's right.
Rest in peace.
And a number of other names.
Including a couple national treasures.
The
first being
Carrie Elway.
Yes.
The other one being Phil Seymour Hoffman.
That's right. Rest in peace as well.
And so the other things to keep in mind that it was directed by Jan de Bont, who also had done Speed, which I feel like it should be a movie that's on our list. I don't know.
And I can see it.
Yeah. He also did Die Hard.
The first
The Hunt
one?
for Red, yep. Hunt for Red October.
All right.
And Basic Instinct. I think he also I remember looking later on. I thought he did Arrival at some
With
point.
Amy Adams?
Yeah, I think so, but I may be wrong.
Okay.
But so like he's done quite a few, like that's not including that one. He's done quite a few well-known, well-received movies at some point in his career. I am double checking that. No, he did not do Arrival, but he did do Minority Report.
Okay.
And oh no, he produced that one. I think he only directed that one. He directed Laura Croft, the first one.
Okay.
But so anyway, that's the director.
That's the good one.
And then this was Michael Crichton was one of the writers for this film. For those who don't know, Michael Crichton is a prolific author, or was, who gave us Jurassic Park, the original one.
Before you continue, I have to address a comment.
Okay.
Strange said, I feel like I'm missing something. Were we supposed to do Ninja Turtles? We were going to be doing Ninja Turtles. I forgot to mention this on the college football stream.
God damn it, Matt. You had one job.
A tornado came through.
You had one
Fittingly.
other job.
Actually, yeah, that was actually planned. We planned for a tornado to hit our house right before we did this stream, just as a nice little cliffhanger, and then we do Twisters for the...
A tornado didn't actually hit our house, although it did hit the area pretty
So, no, what we decided was we're still doing Turtles next week.
Yes.
But because we're watching Twisters this week.
And Twisters is releasing this week.
And Juice had not seen Twister yet.
And we wanted Juice to join us for Twisters, so he had to see Twister first.
Yes, he hit his, please.
And that's really the only reason.
That was a decision that was made after the stream was over.
Yeah, and they asked if I was cool with it, and I said it was fine because I wanted to see, like, after seeing the trailer for Twisters, I was in because Glenn Powell is amazing, and he really sold that trailer for me. So I'm like, okay, let me watch Twister. I have nothing against. Honestly, that was like the whole point of this. I know. I'm sorry.
Save it for next time. Then.
Yeah, save it for next week. The whole point of this project of ours was to get me to watch movies that I hadn't seen.
And this was way before the stream that he's talking about.
Yeah. This was before the idea. This was kind of like before the whole idea of doing this. So it didn't bother me as much. I didn't have a problem with postponing a week, because it's leading up to the sequel, which I have about medium high expectations, because this is a. Wait, what year did this come out?
96.
96. Okay, so this is a 28-year sequel. If it follows the trend of Top Gun Maverick and what else just came out recently that was a sequel to... Oh, and Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
Beetlejuice.
Why are we... Wait, no. Finish your thought before we compare the movies we haven't seen yet.
Sorry.
I'm hoping that it does well in that trend of sequels that came out decades after the original.
Yeah, so we know that has not always been a good formula for success, but one of the reasons why I think we are hopeful for the next one, and actually reading an article right now that is entitled Why Twist... Well, no, that's not the right one. The one is saying Why Twister is the greatest action movie ever made, but Time did an article somewhere about why we all have a stake in Twister's success. But to your point, and I wasn't quite done giving the accolades and everything beforehand, with regards to the sequel being like 25, 30 years, whatever, after the original one, part of it is because the first one was so successful. And it still resonates with people watching it today.
For example, you two, because you had a ball during this movie.
We absolutely did.
From the jump.
And it's funny because I'm actually reading an article, whatever, and what was it? One of the lines they used. Twister isn't a movie centered on youth or one built on the myth that stories like this one are for kids. I didn't finish reading it, but it's like from CBCA, which is a Canadian story or like a site, but it's saying why Twister is the greatest action movie ever made, and I didn't quite get a chance to finish reading the list, the quote.
Right.
But the part they start off with, they're absolutely right. Not only is it the greatest action movie made, but it isn't a movie centered on youth or one built around a myth of stories like this are just for kids. I think, and we'll get into like why it's great and why it's good in a little bit. But it's those elements that still resonate with people who enjoy it so much that so many people are so waiting for the next one. And I think there's a little bit of nostalgia that comes along with it.
Oh,
not just because it's a movie we watched before we loved when we were kids. Not just because like that's what we need, member berries all the goddamn time. And studios need that also because heaven help them if they ever try to make a movie on their own without using someone else's original idea. But the idea is that it's nostalgia in that that small town feel, being out in the wilderness and that being to nature sort of thing. I think that we all kind of still hope for those of us who don't have that existence at least, that it kind of gives you that it's man versus nature sort of thing. It's a disaster film, and that's basically what it breaks down to in a lot of ways that also utilizes a lot of other elements as well to help tell the story. So, does anyone else want to say anything before I continue with the accolades?
Yes. I will let you finish the accolades because before we go into initial impressions, I would like to do some of this trivia that's super interesting.
Okay, let me finish doing accolades because it might cover some of that.
That's what I just said.
Okay, so out of the accolades, so we know it stars Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, a bunch of other people. It was written by Michael Crichton of Jurassic Park fame. I fucking love him, by the way. Not just as a, like, Jurassic Park the movie, like, I've read several of his books, and this is basically his thing. He tries to take scientific theories that are just on the edge of science fiction and almost possible within the realm of reality, and then crafting meaningful stories around what would it look like if we try to make those work, or if they actually were already being implemented. And he does a really good job of them every time. Most of the time, at least. Kathleen Kennedy and Steven Spielberg were amongst the producing credits, along with Crichton. Mark Mancina, who also worked with John the Bont on Speed and a number of other movies, Did the music.
Did the score.
Did the score. Sorry, did the score. Because there's quite a bit of songs in the background that were not original creations by him. According to the reception, box office, Twister opened in 1996 in May, so I guess it was my sister's birthday around that time. It actually beat The Craft. To get an idea what was going on in the 90s. It up into The Craft for being the number one movie at the time. Upon its release, it topped Birdcage, had the biggest 96 opening. At that time, it had the 6th largest opening weekend of any film, behind The Lion King, Batman Returns, Jurassic Park, and Batman Forever. So, basically, up until 1996, the only movies that had ever had a larger opening weekend were all 3 of the more recent Batman movies, Jurassic Park, also another Michael Crichton film, and The fucking Lion King.
That just goes to show Batman ruled the 90s.
Okay, yes, of course he did. Largest opening weekend, dethroning Lethal Weapon 3 and the Flintstones. God, the 90s were so fucking weird. But also the blockbusters that may officially begin the summer season. It would follow similar openings of Deep Impact and The Mummy in 98, 91, or 99, I mean. And Mummy Returns set a new precedent later on, inspired by the summer starter films later on, a couple years later. So Twister kind of seemed like it started a lot of that in the 90s going into the 2000s. I'm not going to say it started the summer movie blockbusters season, because we knew that had been happening before that point. But it seemed to... with regards to May really being part of that summer blockbuster.
It kind of set the precedent. It would set the precedence for it.
Right.
Okay.
So it was ranked as the second highest grossing second weekend of all time after Jurassic Park. So of the 5 movies I mentioned before, only Jurassic Park continued having a high weekend the second weekend. Blah 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 blah. So like it didn't really live up for itself. Basically. What's interesting, though, is that it holds a approval rating of 66% according to Rotten Tomatoes, with an average rating of 6.6 out of 10. High concept blockbuster that emphasizes special effects over 3-dimensional characters. I don't know if I agree with that. Metacritic has a 68 out of 100, and audiences polled gave the film an average rate of A-. So the critics have a much more narrow view of the movie than the audiences according to this. Ebert only gave it 2.5 out of 4 stars. But we all know that for some reason, millennials specifically, I can't speak to any other generation that was around at that time who were capable of watching the movie, because obviously Z would have been like babies if they were even born.
Yeah.
Would only have been watching the film after it on DVD. It was like one of the first movies to be like released on DVD and everything. To be able to have the appreciation. So actually watching it in the theaters or watching it as younger kids who maybe had older siblings or parents who watched it and then showed it to them shortly thereafter, at the time that it would have been out, for some reason we gravitate towards it. I don't know why. And we can try to discuss that a little bit. I have some theories, but obviously the movie is very popular for some reason, and we're going to talk about the reasons why we all enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it here today. Maybe you want to talk about trivia?
Trivia, yes. So a couple really cool things on here. So first of all, Bill Paxton died in 2017. Storm chasers actually maneuvered themselves around the United States and put their GPS trackers into the shape of a BP in honor of him.
Oh, that's awesome.
After he passed away for this film.
Oh, that's awesome.
It had only been done 5 times before, and is the first time it had been done for someone who is not a storm chaser. With a very loud and bass-heavy surround channel, this film was notorious for destroying surround speakers in theaters.
That's amazing.
That sucks.
Another one, I found a couple of these that were very cool. This was the first movie ever released on DVD.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Also the last release on HD DVD.
Oh. So we did HD DVD like once and then like never ever again.
Yeah, so it started DVD and ended HD DVD. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It came full circle.
Steven Spielberg had the idea to kill the father in the beginning.
Of course he did.
At first he was going to survive.
Oh, okay.
Which he said it would make more sense for Joe's obsession chasing the tornadoes if he died.
No,
that makes sense.
Bill Paxton in a Q&A said that he did not meet Steven Spielberg until a year and a half after finishing the movie.
That's fair.
And then said Spielberg greeted him with, "Thanks for making me a lot of money."
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a Spielberg thing.
The oil tanker has the name of the company from The Abyss on it.
Huh.
Oh.
I wonder if there's going to be a thing on there also, but Joe Harding. Harding is the name of one of the scientists from Jurassic Park.
Yes. Also on that vein, Laura Dern and Tom Hanks were the original frontrunners for Joe and Bill Harding.
I'm really glad they went with casting names.
Yeah.
Yes,
no,
I am too.
This was a better...
On top of that, Garth Brooks, Chris Farley, and Mark Cuban...
Or the background staff?
all turned down the role for Dusty.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad Chris Farley didn't do it.
Yeah, Farley would have been a little too much.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks, I don't know if he could have done it.
No.
And I didn't know Mark Cuban could act.
I thought Mark Cuban was an actor. I thought there is an actor named Mark Cuban.
Is this a different Mark Cuban? Because when I hear Mark Cuban, I think of the owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, and when he even old enough? Like, how old is he? He's kind of young.
Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, look that up.
There might be a Mark Cuban.
I'm sure
actor.
he's actually older than I think he is, or something. But yeah.
So apparently, the model for the CGI cow that was picked up and tossed by the tornadoes was originally and just a reskinned version of the CGI zebra from Jumanji.
Because if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Exactly.
So real quick, Mark Cuban as of now is 65 years old.
Oh Jesus.
So it would have been 30s.
Yeah. It says here that he has, according to the overview, American businessman, investor, TV personality, co-owner of the Mavericks, has stakes in movie theaters, television channels, and...
Was he ever an actor?
It doesn't say... He does have an IMDb.
Yeah, but he's on a TV show, that's why.
That's fair. Let me see. Continue while I look this up.
Michael Crichton and his wife Anne-Marie Martin were paid $2 million for the script, which at the time was the single most expensive screenplay ever purchased.
Wow.
But that's because Crichton's a fantastic writer.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't, because they did a screenplay, but it wasn't like derived from a book or anything.
So he does not have any acting credits. He has been an EP since 2002. So I don't know where that would have come from.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but yeah. And I don't... If he wasn't acting... Like, maybe he was trying to break in.
And maybe it was a different Mark Cuban.
Maybe it's a different Mark Cuban.
Director John DeBon did not want to work with famous actors because of their notoriously demanding nature and diva behavior. Instead, going for lesser-known actors in order to not draw any attention away from the tornadoes.
That seems to be what, I get that.
Hang on. I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
He said that the hardest actor to cast was Helen Hunt. DeBon really wanted her to play the lead because he loved her strong persona and ability to boss people around, which reminded him of a whirlwind. However, the studio, that ruins everything, was puzzled over DeBon's choice, since Hunt was only known for doing TV sitcoms at the time, which if you've seen Mad About You, she's fantastic.
Yeah. Very natural.
That explains a lot.
So they pressured him into holding additional auditions. DeBon said these auditions were really embarrassing since he had to tell every actress who turned up that he already set his mind on Hunt, and then afterwards informed the studio that he just couldn't find anyone better.
I was about to say...
It must be the actresses, though.
Oh, God, yeah, those are the real victims.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, as far as not wanting to work with, like, anyone famous, so this is, like, probably one of the... I don't know what other Helen Hunt movie I've seen outside
Well, that
of
was
this.
kind of thing. This is her first movie.
Is it? Okay.
Well, she had done mostly TV at that point.
Okay, because I'm like... Because 2024 now, Helen Hunt, like, I know who Helen Hunt is. I've heard that name. I know she's been big in movies. Before, like, prior to that, I was like, well...
She has the Academy Award.
Twister's her big one.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. She did As Good as It Gets.
Oh yeah, okay.
And Castaway.
I guess you could say that's the big
Yeah,
one.
but Castaways.
That's mostly Tom Hanks.
But that's later.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no. Well, as good as it gets, is a year after this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. This movie started her movie career.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had been on sitcoms, specifically Mad About You, which has her from this movie and Paul Reiser from Aliens, who plays the douchebag corporate guy.
Yes.
And they're a married couple in a comedy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's fantastic. It's a very natural show.
Yeah.
It feels like a marriage.
I may have to watch it.
It's fun.
It's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun.
Okay.
Also, Van Halen wrote 2 original songs for Twister specifically. They actually had a contract to write 5, but injuries to Alex and Eddie, and the vocalist wanted to spend time with his family instead. Hagar apparently failed to show up on the day he reportedly promised to join the band in studio to finish the songs, which caused the band to come to blows that led to Hagar's departure from Van Halen.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Sammy Hagar left Van Halen because of Twister.
Say that again. Let's say what happened again?
So they were contracted to do 5 original songs for the movie. They only did 2.
Okay.
And then Sammy Hagar was going to meet up with the band to finish the rest of the songs in the studio and ditch the appointment. Apparently they got into a fight, and Sammy left the band.
He got a fight because he left the...
Because he didn't
show up.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
The trailer explosion, the famous trailer explosion at the end.
Yeah.
The first time they did it was mistimed. But what DuPont did was because the studio called, because it was the most expensive stunt in the film.
Yeah.
When the studio called to check on it, he said it worked perfectly, and then did another take behind their back, which cost apparently another $500,000.
Wow.
I love that.
By the way, I misspoke. It wasn't her first film. It was probably her first large, it's like her breakout film.
Yeah, her first major motion picture.
Yes. She had been in a number of films up to that point, but not really anything that any of us will have ever heard of.
Okay.
Although Peggy Sue Got Married, I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Both, I'm going to say this first name last, actually. Both, they brought in script doctors at a fee of $100,000 a week to adjust the script. Those script doctors were Steven Zalian, who I don't know, and Joss Whedon.
Wow. Wait, how much? You said 100,000?
100,000 a week.
For Joss Whedon.
Yes, in the 90s.
Pre-MCU and pre-Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
One of the reasons DuPont signed on to the film was that given the rapid rise of CGI in the 90s, he saw this as perhaps the last opportunity to direct a large-scale film with practical effects.
Yeah,
that's
damn,
fair.
he was right.
Yeah, he was right. We're going to get into that discussion.
Yeah.
Or I will get into that.
We should get into that soon, actually, though, baby.
Yeah, we're already pretty far, and we still haven't really talked about.
Sorry. Last thing, this movie took 82 days of filming to finish.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Well, I guess also, the weather probably requires them to do it that way, too, to a certain extent.
All right, so we are there. All right, we are ready. Initial thoughts.
I love it. Next.
Oh, first, Strange says, I've never seen Twister. I'm just going to spend the stream plugging PRW Hard Knocks at On the Rocks.
Which will be...
That is this Saturday, if you are in the Northwest Indiana area, Decibels at On the Rocks. If not, keep an eye on YouTube on our PRW channel for the show. All right, so initial thoughts, love it, move on? No notes.
I remember at some point, I don't know if I should save this for the good or the great or whatever, but I mentioned at some point one of the reasons why. Well, I've watched this film multiple times. I can't even count how many times I've watched this film.
Oh, headset disconnected.
Oh,
Hold on.
I got up.
It's fine.
We're still recording though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how many
It's
times.
not catching it though.
Oh. That's what I'm saying.
No, it was still recording the video.
Oh, no,
but the sound is not
Gotcha.
working.
Sorry about that, guys. I had to
so-
get up and get something to drink.
I'm joining you.
Me as well. Can I have one, baby? I'm just this is my third Pepsi today, and that's bad for me.
This is my second.
Our diet is
or this is my or my third.
Anyway, probably this is for Pepsi. So I've seen a movie like 100,000 times in my life. Like maybe not that many, but it's up there. It's fucking up there. I've seen a lot. I have it saved right now on our DVR from like some various time that it was on, and I didn't know that I could watch it on Max or whatever. And I just saved it so that way I can just watch it whenever I fucking feel like it. And I put it on various times. I'm like coming in and out of the room, or I'm actually just sitting down watching it, and like there are certain scenes that I prefer, and like I want to make sure I'm actually watching whenever they come on. Like, oh, I gotta do something, pause it. Like I can't recite this film word for word yet, which is amazing. Close. But yeah, exactly. Like, but I've never watched it with the point of analyzing it, and I realized that I ain't getting any better at the thingy thing next week. I realized
that's a party for Strange Stars.
Yes, that this movie does a very good job of exposition and subtext. Those are like that's just my first takeaway, but I don't want to get too much into like my goods or my grades or whatever. Yeah. So I'm gonna let that one just
hang out there. Let it hang out there.
But I'm still trying to figure out why millennials love this movie, and hopefully by the end of the stream we will have come up with some working theories.
I can probably
look. Even if you don't, it's fine because it's good.
And I'm going to save your initial reactions because you're the only one who hasn't seen it yet.
Yes.
So mine is super simple. I had my last real vacation, 4 years ago?
Was that long?
3 years ago?
Of Star Rock?
Yeah.
That was 2020, yeah.
Yeah, so 4 years ago I had my last real vacation. And I got off of work, we packed up the car, we got to the house that we were getting in, we got settled in, and the very first thing I did on my vacation out in the wilderness was watch Twister. I put on Twister, and I just vibed and relaxed. And it's still, film. To this day, it was still the best decision I could have made. It made that week so relaxing, and everything was great.
So Strange says that millennials love disaster movies because we are disasters. To some extent, I believe that.
That's part of it. I think that's actually part of it.
So, I adore this movie. I can't watch it as much as she can because I want my disaster movies with a little more punch, a little more grisliness. My go-tos are more like 2012 or I actually would probably watch. No, I would watch Twister before that.
What about The Day After Tomorrow?
I would watch this before Day After Tomorrow. Okay. There was a time where Day After Tomorrow would come first, but I've watched it recently. I'm like, this is not as good.
It's I think it's the pacing. It's the pacing. It's the chemistry. It's the writing. It's the I feel like this movie was a subtle version of what every disaster film wants to try to be. Where there's like this heart there, there's stakes, you understand it, you feel it, you want you know who the characters are for the most part.
You root for people,
You root for them, you root against them, or whatever. But you also want to see the carnage.
Yeah.
But it's not the focus.
Yeah.
It's part of it. It helps the film, but it's not the focus. And I think like all those disaster movies you talk about, it's very much and then.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I sat here and I was thinking about it. Like, one person dies the entire movie. 2 people died the entire movie.
Yeah. I can't forget.
And one's right at the beginning, and one's right at the end.
Well, 3 then, because you forget about the driver.
Yeah, you forget about the driver.
Oh, no one cares about Eddie.
Damn.
But anyway.
Heartless.
3. Okay, 2 at the very end at the exact same time, and 1 at the very beginning.
Actually, no. One before the other, because one gets impaled.
Oh yeah.
By by a post.
2 are part of the exact same death scene.
Yes.
That's fair, but still.
My point is that there are a lot of stakes, a lot of tension, a lot of heart-pounding moments,
not a whole lot
and no one really dies.
Yeah.
So take that, gore porn.
Yeah.
Fuck
you, Saw.
You can. saw 3 through 10, maybe.
Yeah.
Leave 1 and 2 alone.
I've only seen the first one with Carrie Ellis.
Yes. So no, I love this movie. The chemistry of the actors is always fun to watch, and they always remind you of your friend group. Like we're sitting here giving roles to everybody because we know all of these people. So I love this movie. Juice.
So I came into this film with a very open mind. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I don't have a lot of experience with disaster movies. I don't think I've seen a disaster movie, well...
Okay, Titanic definitely.
Okay, so Titanic would be probably what would be for sure.
It's a romance.
All disaster films almost invariably have romance involved in it.
Even this one.
Deep
exactly.
Impact, Armageddon.
No parts of Armageddon, but not entirety.
Okay.
Anything else?
Like you mentioned, 2012.
Nope.
Day After Tomorrow?
Nope. I brought that up because I'm aware of it, but no.
Jesus. What other disaster films are there?
These are ones you haven't seen? Is that what we're covering?
Yep.
Night of the Twisters?
Nope.
That's Night of the Twisters.
Oh God, it's an ABC Family original, and
Okay,
it's actually, but it stars Devon Sawa.
That's nice, but it's still a TV original.
We
so
should watch it at some point.
Sharknado?
Oh God, no.
God.
That's a disaster for a whole other reason. And then also.
Yeah, that's a whole...
Earthquake.
No.
I've never seen it. Well, no, we did. That was with the Rock.
No, that's San Andreas.
That's San Andreas.
Earthquake is like a 1980 film.
Oh, I don't think
no.
Dante's Peak.
I'm aware of it, but I haven't seen it in its entirety.
Ooh, we should watch Dante's Peak.
So apparently, you really haven't seen it.
I'm aware of it, haven't seen it in its entirety.
Watch that at some point.
Yeah. So yeah,
Volcano.
My experience with disaster films is zilch.
Okay.
It's never really grabbed my attention. Again, I am very weird with movies.
No, that's fine.
So I kept an open mind coming into this, but I also had that expectation of, okay, it's a disaster movie. It's chaos and carnage.
How dare you besmirch the name of Sharknado?
I will besmirch it as many times as I have to. Anyway, it's part of this. It's part of the CG revolution, and it's not great. So yeah, I came into this film, shit's gonna go awry. People are trying to save each other. Whatever. Very serious tone.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun with this.
Mm-hmm.
From the jump, you kind of get you get a very minimal idea. You get that sense of like, okay, this is gonna be a serious film from the beginning. But then as soon as we get into meeting all the players, you get a whole different experience, and then once the music hit, you're like, we're going here, let's go there, and it's very fun. It's upbeat when it needs to be serious. It's serious. The music, like for me, what really got me was the music in this movie. The music, it
did a very good job.
It hooked me in when it needed to. When everybody's going towards the first twister and everyone's playing their own music, but there's also music playing, it just gave me that sense of like, okay, so everybody's got their own call to adventure music. Let's fucking go, because everyone has their own call to adventure music.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a thing. Everyone has that one song or set of songs that like gets them amped up, and I'm there for it. But the way the movie moves, the pacing of the movie, along with the music, like really set the tone that this isn't that super serious, we're all gonna die disaster film.
Yeah.
This was a very different experience. I had a really fun time. I need to watch it again. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm ready to move into the rest of the discussion. I don't really have a lot to go through as far as my good, my bad, and my ugly, but I had a really great time.
Sharknado and Balazsa Pass are the only two perfect movies. You and Strange with your troll. These movies are meant to troll actual films.
Yeah.
And you love them.
I know!
And they're terrible.
They're brilliant!
They're garbage.
Okay, Sharknado absolutely was fucking dog shit, and they knew it making it, but because they knew it, they could have fun and then not take themselves seriously. And so the rest of us enjoyed it as a result. If they actually tried making it into a real movie and then failed spectacularly because they were destined to, no one would have given a shit about it. But because it was so obviously bad to even those people who were... The poor old lady at the end... You know what? I'm not going to know the Sharknado right now because that's what we're doing. We're here
all right. We're moving on.
So real quick, when did Dante's Peak and Volcano come out?
Around the same time.
Yeah, I think like 97 or 98 or something like that.
Okay. Because that would basically this movie set the precedent for the disaster film genre.
I could say that for Dante's Peak, because Dante's Peak feels a lot like Twister.
Yeah.
Volcano's different.
Okay.
Volcano is a much
Volcano
more
and Dante's Peak were both 97
serious.
Yeah. I mean, it's Tommy Lee Jones.
It's kind of like, so in 96 or 98, when did Armageddon come out?
99.
So
98.
Armageddon...
98 going into 99.
Yeah.
So Armageddon and Deep Impact came out around the same year?
What's that?
Armageddon and Deep Impact?
Armageddon definitely came out in 98. I feel like Deep Impact came out right before it.
But either way, they were right there with each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had Armageddon, which was the fun...
action
adventure disaster movie.
Yeah.
They both are.
And you had Deep Impact, which was the heart-wrenching, serious tone action movie. Volcano and Dante's Peak are the same thing.
Okay.
So,
I can see that.
Twister is definitely on that fun side. So when you say it paved the way, I think it paved the way for Armageddon. It paved the way for Dante's Peak.
Gotcha.
It did not pave the way for Volcano or Deep Impact. Okay. They were different movies.
Well, no, Deep Impact came out in May of 98. Armageddon came out at the end of June.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
So right next to each other.
Well, regardless.
Bring back dueling movies.
No, please.
Same premises with different tones. Bring that shit back.
I
like all four of those movies.
Yeah, but but look, we're at a point in time where originality in film is very scarce.
Yeah.
And because of that, if you were to do that, or if you do that, you won't see as much success.
Yeah.
You know, we're already criticizing a lot of new movies because they're unoriginal. They're, a lot of them are remakes.
Yeah.
So they're not doing well. I mean, we just went to go see A Quiet Place day one, and it's not a remake. It's a prequel that's part of that world, but I was having a discussion with a client earlier how it's set in that world, but it's not the same as the first two movies.
It's original.
What is that?
Yes.
A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of the world, but it's not the same as the first two movies.
No.
In terms of the way it's made.
Yes.
It's not the same as the first two movies.
No, but there are obviously a lot of similarities. But we can talk about Quiet Place.
We can do that later.
Yeah, we can do that later.
We eventually one of these days we're gonna talk about fucking Twister.
Into the good.
No, I'm trying to get into that. But
get into the good.
Let's get into the good. The good. I'm gonna just the score. I love the score for this movie because as soon as I heard it, I was hooked. It's very fun. It's upbeat. When it gets serious, it gets serious. This movie did a really good job, especially when the tension is at its peak, and when we get to the climax, that it just shuts off and lets the movie do its thing, and then it picks right back up. Perfect. Like we've had this discussion in prior movies that we've already done. It does a really good job. If they had brought in somebody else, I don't know what the tone. If it would have matched the tone, it might have, but it might have been different. All in all, to say that I really enjoyed what Mark Mancina did with the score in this film. It was very hard to hear a lot of the other music that was in the back. I didn't recognize any of it, but there was a lot of different music in the back. I really love the chemistry between Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton, and I do appreciate the fact that you guys basically said that was you two because I could see it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is definitely you two.
It's not
that first argument in the truck, we have almost had that verbatim argument before.
I mean, not verbatim.
Not verbatim. It was about something else. But it was the same tone, same structure. Christ, you couldn't resist because you asked me. You asked me!
Okay, so we said, or you said, Tom Hanks and who?
Laura Dern, which is Sarah Harding from Jurassic Park.
Not Sarah Harding. Elle,
yeah. Oh, Ellie,
yeah.
Ellie Sattler.
Yeah, Ellie Statler from Jurassic Park.
Harding is the name
of
the...
that's a Jennifer... No. Harding is the name of the vet tech, you're right.
Yeah.
However, I was saying Sarah Harding, which is Julianne Moore's character in The Lost World.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Hold on.
I appreciate how much the music guy Juicy is in movies. I didn't see the rest of it.
I'm more of a scenery guy, so it's nice to hear about things I don't focus on as much. Thank you.
Yes.
It's one of the things they were telling me about how I have an ear for it in movies. So real quick, I just want to go on a slight little tangent. Over the last few years, I have drifted away from listening to regular music. It doesn't get to me anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to the radio. I rarely listen to my regular music on my Apple Music. I'm more of a podcast and scores and soundtracks guy.
Yeah.
And because I relate music more to movies and TV than I do to anything else, because that is what has brought me happiness and feelings of joy since I was younger. When I started making a scores and soundtracks playlist, actually my 90s openings playlist, that's where I got that from. And it kind of helped me to appreciate music in film a lot more, because there's moments, you remember those moments that really bring you up or really bring you down. Or those really exciting moments, like the Imperial March from Empire Strikes Back. Or the opening of Batman 89, etc., etc. Anyway, so yeah, Tom Hanks and Laura Dern as our main leads. I see it, but I also don't see it. You know, like
not the way they did.
No, not the way Paxton and Hunt do. Like, Tom Hanks has a very specific acting style.
Yes.
And it doesn't fit this film tone.
Fun fact: Tom Hanks, part of the
trivia.
Is part of the trivia. He is the one who pulled out.
Really?
Because he thought his style did not match the script.
Look at that.
He was not what they were looking for.
Wow!
And it's not the direction he wanted to go. He was like, they were looking for someone who was reckless with a bit of a southern charm, and that's not me.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And he pulled out of the project.
That's amazing that
I love that you picked up on that.
I'm amazed that I picked up on that, because look, I'm Tom Hanks in the late 80s, early 90s. It's like, okay, before, because Forrest Gump is what, 95? 96?
94, 95.
Okay. I'm thinking Forrest, but I'm also thinking of like, well, shit, I'm trying to think what else did he do.
League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own, The Burbs, Sleepless in Seattle.
Yes, and you've got Mail.
Oh, Sleepless in Seattle.
So I haven't seen those either, but again,
Sleepless will go on my wheel.
But again, I'm hearing his voice from at least a little bit of Forrest Gump and a little bit of A League of Their Own. I'm just like, I don't see him in this movie.
I think The League of Their Own would be the closest.
I think it would be, but that's more, you know, that's a very different. That's kind of almost jock-ish, but I have to watch A League of Their Own completely at some point. Laura Dern, I think she's too nice.
Yeah, I don't think she couldn't pull off the bossy.
No.
Well, no, I want to take that back, because you have General Holdo.
That's later.
Yeah, but even then, she's not. She don't get. You get it.
You get mentor, not bossy.
You get firm. You get firm.
Yeah.
She's in command, but this is somebody who's obsessed.
Yes.
And bossy, yeah.
Well,
not so much
bossy.
No, not
she's
really.
in charge.
Yeah, she has to be. Yeah.
She's the one who's leading the project, so she's the one telling us.
But she's like you said, no. She's obsessed. She is obsessed.
Yeah.
So I could see obsessed a little bit, but it's not encompassed in the same way. Like her obsession, like it wasn't much of an obsession. Like her obsession with dinosaurs isn't the same as her obsession with nets, with twisters. You know, now granted, it's not an obsession with dinosaurs. It's a study. It's the evolution. So I couldn't see Laura Dern in it either. What I appreciate about Helen Hunt, granted I don't think I've seen another Helen Hunt movie, is like she has that all-American girl charm about her. Yeah. And it's like she's pretty, but she's not too pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And it fits as well. But again, like you said, before this...
Not to objectify.
No, and this isn't to objectify her, but like she fits the look.
Yeah, I believe she's a scientist.
Yeah, I believe her in this role.
Yeah.
But again, she's also very tomboyish as well.
Yeah.
In this film, which I feel is there's another weird attraction there with Bill Paxton's character.
Yeah.
So it fits. The supporting cast I think is really good. Cary Elwes is a natural treasure. He can be in anything. And I love it. Oh my
god, how much of a step away from his other characters is this one?
Not very much.
Corporate Stooge? I can't think of Corporate Stooge and his...
I don't know what Corporate Stooge is.
Other...
I mean, this guy is a Corporate Stooge.
Yeah.
No, Cary always played a Corporate Stooge, and that I feel like that is a large step away from what he usually does. But every role is kind of a far step away from each other. The closest I can think of is the Liar character.
Oh,
the
Gary?
Stepfather, yeah. I can see that kind of being the same thing.
But it's like Cary Elwes is always great as a foil for the protagonist.
Yes.
He's able to adapt so well. He's a chameleon. Yeah. He's very well adaptable to any situation that you put him in, and I love him for it. And just God, it's like anything he does is so good. Hashtag my Robin Hood.
So is that it for your
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Oh, we're good. Here we go.
Let's get into Dusty. Damn, I love Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie because this is before I knew him as PHS. Seeing him in later films is he has such a diverse character list.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how well he is able to. He's again like Cary Elwes.
Chameleon,
he is a chameleon, and him in this role as this. Oh God, I don't know how. He's a very kind of chill, little extreme, almost party guy, but he lives life to the fullest. He's full of life. He's full of energy. He's a great wingman to Bill Paxton's character in this movie. Well, not wingman, but almost
hype man.
Hype man. He's
see it Strange. See it Strange.
Yeah, he's a great hype man. So,
by the way, Strange, if you ever watch this movie, we have come to the consensus that you and Nick are combined together are Dusty.
Either one of you could be Dusty.
Yeah.
Depending on the day of the week, or if you guys fused, if you did the fusion dance, you could be Dusty. You could come out as Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie.
Oh, and when they fuse, the theme music behind it is.
Yes.
I won't.
Don't worry. Fuck you. Strange also said, Matt said, I believe her as a scientist, while Juice was describing her as pretty but not too pretty, and I out loud said, because hot people are dumb as fuck. And my coworker just looked at me like, what the fuck?
Oh, thank God, Strange. Because I was just I didn't have anything to say. I had something to say. I just I'm waiting my turn.
Yeah, yeah.
Except for you, baby. You're hot as fuck and very, very smart.
Thank you.
Marriage.
That with disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
The pace, it's well paced. I'll be honest. When we got into the second act, I'm like, oh my god, is this it? And then like, oh no, there's more. Oh shit, because I was naive to think that the movie was gonna be over going into the second set of twisters.
Oh yeah.
I was foolish.
Did you notice what they did though?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. You remember the conversation at the dinner table about the Fujita scale?
Yes.
So think about that, and then go over the movie and what they did.
Okay, so we started with an F3.
No.
Start with F2.
We start with an F1.
Yeah.
Was it in that? Okay.
This movie goes F1,
F1,
F2, F3, F4, and then the F5
okay.
or F3.
That's fair.
Yeah, I always thought that was like really cool.
No, that makes sense because they. So then that right there just goes to prove how they paced the movie out and escalated it off of the scale of the storm.
Yes.
Also, real quick. So just so I'm remembering, because like the F1 is which one?
It's the one where they get caught under the bridge at the beginning.
F2 is which one?
The F2 is the the sisters on
Which one's the F3?
The jumper.
Okay, that's what I'm forgetting.
And then
because they were even saying that the sisters were F3, but then they were also like F2 maybe F3.
No, and then Bill says it's a solid F2.
Yeah.
And the whole movie up to that point has explained that he knows this better than anyone else.
Yes.
And then F3 will be the one after that. F4 is obviously the one
that destroys the drive-through.
And then F5 is the one.
Climax,
yeah. So that right there just goes to show how well of a job they did in the execution of the escalation, pacing, and the escalation of the movie. I think the script is solid. I can't speak on the screenplay or anything else, but that's cinematography, loved it. I think that's it.
Well, do you know besides Jurassic Park what Michael Crichton has written?
No.
Okay. Andromeda Strain.
Okay.
Congo.
I'm aware of Congo, never seen it.
Well, Andromeda Strain was also a huge movie in the 80s.
Okay.
But it was a novel first.
Okay.
The Abyss? No?
I did Sphere.
Timeline. The Lost World. The man's one of the best writers.
Westworld also.
And an actual genius.
Okay.
So, he's fantastic.
Awesome.
There's other shit too. There's
Wait.
Sun.
Strain says, wait. Brock named his finisher after the most dangerous level of tornado. I never knew.
we made it.
I'm gonna take that as sarcasm because he literally throws them in a spiral.
Yeah.
Like a tornado.
Yeah. Also, we did make a Brock Lesnar comment throughout the film, and I think when they mentioned an F5, we just started humming Brock's theme.
Dun, 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 dun.
Which I had to ask him to stop because it was also one of the scenes I thought was kind of important. For development.
Yeah, it was good exposition. Do you have any more good?
Carry on.
So, as you saw, there's a lot of good there. I agree with all of it. I'm trying to think of something like separately. The opening is still one of my favorite openings in a movie ever.
Now, are you talking about the opening scene or the opening?
The opening scene.
Okay.
With the
tornado hitting Young Joe's house.
Yeah.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah.
It gives you everything you need to know about this character in one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly how it should be. I know her motivations. I understand her motivations. And I don't necessarily disagree with her motivations because of that scene.
Exactly.
I get it. You saw one of the most horrific things. Of course, you would be obsessed with trying to stop pointless, needless death to these things.
Especially if it takes your father away.
Yeah, I get it. And then again, the banter between the characters. Me and Ari literally sat here and mouthed the entire first fight.
Yeah.
Between Joe and Bill.
Yeah.
And it's because we've had this fight.
And
it's so natural.
You, not only that, but you mouthed a fair amount of the dialogue in this movie yourself.
And it's not like we've had the fight about me being with another woman and her being upset or like questioning or interrogating me about it. But we've had the one where it's like, she wants to make a comment, I don't want to fight. I'm just trying to make civil conversation and you're biting my head off. No, I know where this is going and you know where this is going. You know what you're doing. Don't do it. And it just escalates
You
from
don't
there.
have to let it become a fight. I'm just saying, like, I'm just asking a question.
You couldn't resist. You asked me. It's a very natural marital argument. And I could literally watch that scene over and over again. It's phenomenal. Carrie always does really well.
That's why I called it that. I was just like, he could call it Z11. I'm not questioning that terrifying move.
Or that terrifying man. Oh, he did not actually know that the F5 was a tornado.
Wow.
I love you, Strange. The ending scene still hits. The drive-in scene.
Oh my God!
Is another one of my favorites.
Of
all time.
Yeah,
because up to this point, this is a fun adventure movie. And you're like, catch that tornado, and yay, and then right before the drive-in scene, you have this moment where it's like, this is heavier, more serious, and deeper than anything we've had.
Yeah,
so far.
once they try to launch Dorothy 2, it's like the intensity starts to build up, the stakes start to build up. The emotion definitely starts to build up, not just between our two leads, but also between Bill Paxton and the character who's playing his fiance.
Yeah.
Because that's where she starts.
Was there Melinda in there?
Melissa.
And then Jamie Ertz?
Yes.
Yes. Because she starts to realize that they still have feelings for each other, and then she's also slowly starting to realize, like, this is way too much for me. Well, like, she already knows that this is too much, and the F4 is the confirmation that, no, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that...
But...
Let her finish. No, she started. No, she started. Let her finish.
Go ahead.
You started. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I always interpreted it as, at this point, in the beginning of the movie, Bill is trying to get out.
Yeah.
He's, a whole new man is kind of like the way that Joe reflects it. And so he is, quote, leaving this world behind. And he gets sucked in for one more day, and Melissa realizes, yeah, he probably still has feelings for Joe, and that's undeniable, but he also still really cares about this world.
Yeah.
And she can't compete with either. She might be with Joe, but she can't compete with this world, especially with Joe attached to it.
Yeah.
And even if Joe wasn't attached to it, I think that when she's like, we both know it end eventually, is probably because she recognizes not necessarily they don't have feelings for each other, but he is not going to be happy where he's going.
Yeah.
Because it's not this.
Yeah, it's just it's being a weatherman.
And that's the beauty of it, is like, she's not mad at him.
No.
And Bill's not mad at her. And it's just a very mutual, like, damn, you wanted something safe, that's why you got with me.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're right. And I didn't mean for that to be what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, I get it. It's cool. And then she's like, don't worry, I'll find my way home. And it's one of the best lines for this foil for their relationship.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm good, I get it, you guys should be together, I'm just gonna step away, and I don't hate you. Like, oh my god, an amicable breakup on a movie screen. Like, there's not enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough.
No, yeah. Very reasonable.
But anyway, what I was getting to... Sorry, were you done?
No, that was my thing. That was it.
Okay. So, the thing I was getting to was right before that, we have this really gut-punching conversation between Joe and Bill. And Bill just calls her out on her bullshit and her obsession. And Joe's, like, fighting back. Like, when she screams, you've never seen it. Oh, I love it every time. The delivery is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you, like, are shoved in this drive-in movie, and you're watching The Shining all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, where are we? What is happening? Because it's very not what the movie's been up to this point. So then you're dropped into The Shining, and there's this weird tension in the air, and then all of a sudden the F4 hits. And you talk about subtext.
Mm-hmm.
When they realize that the tornado's there, and there's that flash of lightning, and first you get Helen Hunt kind of jumping, and then it shifts to Bill, and you see the fear in his eyes, and neither of them have to say a word. You know this is the most danger the characters have been in.
Yep.
The entire movie.
Yep.
And this is a problem.
Yeah.
And then it hits, and then it hits with Kia, and it's like the tornado is now literally ready to take lives. Like, you actually feel danger now. And it's just so beautifully paced and done and built. Oh, it's one of my favorite, like... So, the villain in this movie is the tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every really good movie, the villain has to start winning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have Infinity War in the MCU. You have, at some point you have to have that dark movie where the bad guys are winning.
Of course.
Or the dark part. And this was it. And this is one where it's really clear, this is a problem. And this has to be fixed.
Yeah.
It really builds up to that third act, which is also amazing. But those are the two things I really wanted to talk about in my good, because they aren't talked about enough. Amicable breakups, breaking tropes in general. Mm-hmm. This movie does do that pretty well, even though it has a couple. But yeah, no, that's my good.
I'm really glad that you brought that up. I was actually going to bring it up also as one of my good. And I know that a lot of times, in the past, when we've had a movie that I really did not care for, I analyze it, whatever, and I'm just point after point after point of all the things that are wrong with it.
You now have point after point after why this is great.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
All right,
Excellent.
so,
Okay.
first off, Juicy's point about the music. I want to talk about the music as well, the score as well as the soundtrack. For the most part, the soundtrack, and this is actually can be technically kind of a bad, but I'm not going to qualify it except because of one part that I found being important. The score is important. The score is great. The soundtrack in terms of the songs that are playing in the background are really almost just kind of all right,
background noise.
They're more, for the most part, they're not necessarily for a point, it's to fill in the background that this is an actual scene that would have music playing in the background. Okay. They are more or less generic 90s songs.
Okay.
There's nothing that sticks out oh, I know that song. Oh, I know that band. Yeah. The only ones that might come close are the scene where they're driving. And this is when the music is being used, not necessarily for background, it's being used to actually kind of introduce you to the characters.
Yeah.
One's going to have some of the most important, in terms of
and
lines.
don't have lines, yeah.
Yeah, and just in general, just kind of getting feeling of filling out this group that we have here as feeling as real people. These are things that they probably have been doing in the past as well. So when you see Jo, she's actually kind of turning through the channels to kind of hear what everyone's doing. So Dusty has his rock blasting or whatever. Yep. What's his face has the fucking Ride of the Valkyries or whatever he's listening to, and the other people are listening to the Oklahoma soundtrack.
Well, they're singing the
Oklahoma
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, I assume that they was playing in the background. Maybe they were actually singing on their own.
They're just singing
it.
They're
just singing it.
Because that's who they are. They're the extroverts.
And of course, they're in Oklahoma, so why wouldn't you sing the
Oklahoma, why wouldn't you sing Oklahoma?
And the only words that knows that fucking song are from this movie.
Yes.
And but also in that same scene, we don't see everyone else. We don't have Rabbit. We don't have a bunch of other people who are doing their stuff because it's just going to be too long. But we also have Melissa, and we get an introduction into who she is. She's by herself for the first time in the entire film. Mm-hmm. And we have her on the phone, which at this time, phones and cars are still kind of new.
Yeah.
Well, she was on a cell phone.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
She's on her cell phone in the car, which is still fairly new. Most people don't have phones.
People,
in the mid-90s. She's a therapist. And so it kind of sets her apart from everybody else in the film. Number one on top. She's obviously a professional. She works probably in an office. She's someone who's highly educated, but probably not involved in a nitty-gritty environment like this right here.
Could you read that comment from Strange?
The fuck is Oklahoma, Matt? Don't you give me a smart ass.
Well, you see, Oklahoma is a state that looks like a frying pan in the United States of America. It is abbreviated OK.
Yeah.
And it is mostly plains and flatland.
also has a very popular college football team.
Yes, the Boomer Sooners.
The Sooners.
The Sooners.
Boomer Sooners.
I always say Boomer Sooners because of good old JR.
JR, that's right.
And also, you could also describe it as, Oklahoma, where the wind goes sweeping down the plain. And the waving wheat sure sounds sweet. I don't know any more of the words because that's where it cuts off in the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's my smart ass offer for you, straight. I'm going to New Japan. I'm gonna go to New Japan. I'm giving Jed the credit. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to you wouldn't be able to troll me like that.
Alright, so
go ahead.
Okay. But so we see that she's separated from everybody else in a lot of ways, and which is also kind of like almost like physically, right? Because she's at the very, very back of the line, and so she's separated the furthest from Joe and Bill in the very front. And that leads to the scene that we have with them, like, obviously bickering. And I'm not gonna break down every single last scene, but I will now move on from music into the characters.
Can I just go over the soundtrack list real quick?
No.
No, damn.
I have a lot to get through.
Okay. Just to kind of prove that it's very generic because you got the two Van Halen songs.
Yeah.
There is a Shania Twain song. There's a Goo Goo Dolls. There's a Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. Again,
they're all 90s.
Yeah, they're all.
No, I recognize the bands and the names. I don't recognize any of their fucking.
I don't even remember
that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
That's to add to your point.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the 5 songs Van Halen were supposed to, or the 2 songs that they did, like. I don't really know if you hear them in the movie, and you whatever.
Shine On wasn't that one of the songs?
No. They have humans being and Respect the Wind. Respect, which I'm assuming would probably have played during the credits.
That's the end credits, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it's like none of these songs are completely recognizable for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. That was to add to your point about the music.
Alright, thank you. So I have a lot to get through.
I think this is the longest review you all have done, you all have barely done. We love this movie. I could talk about this movie for a while, but we're actually making good time so far.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue talking.
Well, we're still
what I really wanted to talk about...
We're still on the good, is the thing.
Yes. So
what did you think... Sorry, I'm done. I'm sorry. I gotta mess with yourself, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just bust your balls, man. Now go get your fucking shine box, Like,
you're having the guys after that, right?
I'm done talking.
So, moving on. So with the characters, the next thing to say was like we have now we've now been introduced to the main characters, like especially like a very entrance. So start with like cinematography. After we had the scene with Joe and her family, and we have now progressed into the present day, and we have like the kind of almost like a God eye perspective of like the people who are in like the weather service office, right? Don't worry, every trolling moment of bad is resulting in Spanish for him and D&D. Thanks, Strange. And so, but like that kind of like moves into the next scene where we're getting into Bill and Melissa, and it's this large, wide shot of the Oklahoma plains as we zoom in from afar, closer onto Bill driving along the road with a crop plane dusting in the background, and like it kind of like just sets the scene like we are out in this beautiful like American countryside or whatever. Shit's about to drop off. But like it's wide open and it's just kind of like possibilities exist basically. I actually even noticed like when they're talking, a lot of times, sometimes when they're filming and they have a shot that's coming from outside the car while characters are talking, they record their voices and then they play them over. But they're not actually talking during the filming that's happening in front of you. That's not what's happening here. They probably still record their voices separately because you wouldn't be able to hear it from outside the car. But you do actually see his mouth moving. So they are actually running their lines inside the car as the scene is going on, which I liked. But so, like, this movie does a very, very good job of exposition. And they tend to have 2 different types, and like, subtext or whatever. Like, for example, the scene where they're explaining what Dorothy is. you need to know what Dorothy is, but also provides you with the information that this is something that they have been working on before the dissolution of their marriage. It's something that's very important to both of them, and it's important to the project of whatever they, like everyone else who's there with them, to try and create a better tornado warning system, right?
It's their baby.
But no one who isn't on that group already knows what the fuck it is, so now we have brought Melissa along, and she makes sense to be there because she wants to see what's going on, and she's just curious, and it sounds like a fun field trip for her. Mm-hmm. This is an excuse for us to be able to explain it. If she's not there, there's really no reason to explain what the fuck Dorothy is or why the movie exists, right? Because that's the whole point. Their goal is to get Dorothy up into the clouds.
Yeah.
That is the whole reason for them being there. And so in order for us to understand how important it is, we need them to explain it to us, and they do a very good job of explaining it to us without feeling like they're just lecturing it to us. It doesn't feel out of place. They do this multiple times throughout the film, and I fucking love it. And what's great is that they do it in a way that not only makes sense to the audience, but it's... When they have the scene with them, her and Bill, she guts up on the truck with them. They are now on even levels. And I also like the use of levels in this film. The scene you mentioned with regards to like the tornado at the drive-in, which I loved your estimation, by the way. I thought it was brilliant.
Which one?
This is the most danger they're in. Like it's like obviously like there's a change in like what's going on. The way I thought about it was like there's a disturbance in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all tornadoes usually are, right? There's this building of pressure and heat and everything, moisture, blah, blah, blah. And so finally it gets to a head and it releases all of this carnage on us, like, unfortunately, because we're down here, but eventually it's done, right? It's balanced, more or less, right back into the way it's supposed to be, and that's when the system is over. And so, like, what's happening is this happens right after the most tension between those three. Mm-hmm. We knew that tension existed. These two are in the middle of a divorce. She is still wearing her ring. He is bringing the divorce papers, and his fiance.
Yeah.
She was not expecting her to be there, probably hoping to try and win him back or something like that, or like talk it through. No, he's serious, he's moving on. Fuck. Alright, well that sucks, but I'm gonna be civil. This is not my fault, it's not her fault, it's not anyone's fault, it's just what it is. It sucks to be me, I'm gonna move on, and she continues on with that. And the same thing with Bill. Like, he's obviously like, I was not planning on staying, but Carrie always characters here, and fuck that guy. So I'm gonna say nothing else.
Also, I helped design Dorothy, and I want to make sure my idea comes to.
No, yeah,
and he stole my design, so fuck him.
But yeah. No, whether she flies or not, I'm gone. Yeah. So it's about as much Dorothy as it is fuck that guy.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But so Melissa's just kind of like back here just watching all this shit, but she also recognizes, oh, you're still in love with him. Which, speaking of levels. They have this a couple times in the movie. There's that one scene with the waitress who like watches like just count her money or whatever.
And
like,
then they have the
coffee. Like, you're still in love with him, aren't you? Like,
oh.
Don't mind me. I'm just vacuuming the refrigerator. What were like? What are you saying? I'll turn it off if you need me to. Like, there's a scene where the very, very, very beginning when Bill and Joe are talking, I think, about the divorce papers or whatever, something like that. And the two characters, I forget their names, the girl and the boy.
Belzer, and I don't remember the girl's name.
They, at some point, Belzer, like, grabs her by the shoulders and, like,
maneuvers her away.
Like, where's this? We're gonna go fuck off real quick. Yeah. Sorry, we're gonna excuse us to go fuck off. And, like, but it's like, they don't have to have that in there, but it's like, recognize, okay, this is something that's more important, or, like, not something that we roll involved with. It's obviously, like, some tension between them. Coming back to the scene from the F4, that is right after he has admitted that he more or less still has feelings for her.
No, yeah, and he does it in a very roundabout way.
And she is obviously taken aback by it. His fiance is here, whether she realizes that she can hear anything or not. Her fiance is there crying in the rain, realizing that her marriage is probably very well over before it got started.
Yeah.
And trying to think her way through this. And so, like, there are all these levels that are going on at the same time, and then when you have the shot of them realizing something terrible is going on, you have the three of them in the focus.
Yes, you do.
You have him and her in the foreground, although I think one of them might be a little bit in front of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bill's actually more in the foreground than she is.
No, Bill's in the background.
Bill's in the background
and Helen's
okay, I don't remember. Like, I know there's some like importance to that.
Yeah.
Because he's still tied to Melissa, who is in the background. She's a little out of focus, but you can still see her.
Yeah.
And they're all saying the same thing at the same time and realizing everything at the same time. In the same way they are all realizing, wow, this little like three-way that we have going on is kind of fucked up, and we gotta figure something else out of it. And of course, what happens is that one of the parties fucks off, and now there's balance.
Yeah.
More or less. And so, no, I love your take on the regard of the Moretic leads. It is refreshing. P.S. will enter rest mode in 10 minutes. We're not, so we need to do something else. It's refreshing when you have characters who are obviously going through a divorce or a breakup who are not automatically at odds. There's obviously tension, but tension doesn't necessarily have to mean hostility.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or that they're actively trying to downplay the other person, who there's the other love interest, that they're trying to win them back actively, things like that. Like, it's refreshing when that's not assumed to be like the cat fight between the two women or anything like that. No, like, you're still in love with them. Yeah, I'm gonna pay for her drinks also. Like, we're together. Yeah, like, I'm gonna do the classy thing. Like, it's I welcome sort of stuff like that because it's such a trope at this point for movies to have it automatically like, oh, we're fighting over this guy, or I can't get my mind, I'm trying to do, like, it's just, I'm over it.
And how fitting it is in 2024 that we're talking about this when we have two political parties that want the same thing, and instead, the same place, the same seat, the same place of power.
That's fair.
And our only reaction to fix this is to attack each other and lambaste each other and demean each other instead of finding compromises or instead of being civil and making it we're not getting political about this.
Yes, we are. No, we're not. We're getting political, so we're going to move away.
We're going to move away, but I just want to make that point that guess what? You can disagree with someone and not hate them.
I don't have a comment because I don't feel like that's appropriate for this discussion.
Well,
So we're going to move on.
All right, moving on.
Chemistry, familiarity is obvious. This group has been together for a while. The dialogue is very natural. I'm going to try and breeze through this because I already spent too much time on it as well. The dialogue is very natural, and that it feels like these are like conversations people will be having. That is like already conversations that have happened before that they are now moving on. I can feel the scene where like Joe's going upstairs and they're all talking about that one time basically, and she almost kind of wants to stay not only because like it's nice, it's old times, but she kind of want to hear the story again. And of course, she's heard it before, probably a dozen times, whatever. And it's sad because she knows that there's a very good chance that she's never going to have this situation again.
Well, it also
not gonna come up again.
Also, like, from my perspective,
thanks, Strange.
It also
fuck that.
It also sounds like the stories of the first time they met.
Well, I mean, the one where he's like, I never took it that way. I felt like they were together at that point. That he is strolling in naked. And she's yelling at him. They probably already knew each other at that point.
Maybe.
It sounds like they were married for a while. And they likely went to grad school together and that sort of thing. So they've probably known each other for a minute. Yeah. And the fact that these people are also part of that story as well means that they've been traveling together. And that's really, I really think it's trying to show them is that familiarity more than anything.
Oh, and he was definitely naked. They proved that.
Yeah.
Because in the conversation, I'm not naked. I wasn't naked. I wasn't
partially naked.
I was half
naked.
Well, no, but the point is that they're having this conversation that they've had before, recounting a fun story for them to somebody new, but it shows the familiarity of the group.
Yeah.
And that this is something that they've been traveling together for a while, and Joe is sad about the fact that this is changing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to probably get this again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Also, like, science, just... Yeah. I don't know how sciencey, how accurate some of the science is, but I'm just also like, yay, let's do something that's like science driven and like I know from enough like background stuff with like looking at storm chasing and meteorology. I don't know all the terminology, but they obviously were using some real terms. I don't know how well they were using them 100%, but some of that was accurate, not necessarily all of it. Obviously, the writing, the exposition, the subtext, dialogue, all of it, pacing, stakes, the acting, cinematography, the practical effects. Granted, there was a lot of CGI that was in this movie as well, but definitely, obviously, they utilized some of the practical effects as well. I remember watching some of the making ofs when they used to show those on like HBO and shit before movies came out. Watching that for this movie. And
the special features on the DVD.
And that is the end of my good, and I could have gone into more.
Yep. All right, so let's go into the bad. Streamline it a little bit. Go ahead, Juice.
All right. As far as the bad goes for me in this movie, it's mostly the CGI. There's moments where it really takes you out, and like the satellite in the beginning that you mentioned. There's a couple moments with some of the debris when it's being thrown from the tornadoes. The cows, which I remember the cow being a thing.
Yeah.
Like in either trailers or in promotional advertisements.
It's one of the most famous moments from this movie.
So yeah.
I'm not shocked you've heard of it.
Yeah, and then there's some moments with green screen that's like ooh. But again, this is a movie from the 90s, which I'm sure the CGI looked better then.
Yeah.
And this has been remastered a couple times, and we're in 2024 on like a 4K TV, so it looks rough. But that's pretty much it. And that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else as far as anything that really like took me out, or I may not have agreed with. There may have been a couple moments with certain like maybe facial expressions. Or maybe the scene with Melissa in the hail. I think it lingered a little too long for me personally, and some of
when she's crying in the rain, listening to.
I didn't see her crying like.
I didn't see crying either.
It's assumed, I think, at that point she's listening to her fiance.
Yeah, she is. I think it lingered just a little too long after the conversation. It was a weird choice for them to stay on her for like those what felt like maybe.
I think it was to try and create the impact of what the conversation was.
No, and I understand that, but like for me, I felt it was a little too long, and I think whatever choice she was making as far as like her thinking face, it just didn't work for me.
It felt like to me, and I don't know. Here's the thing: she can hear it, but I don't know who else there can hear it. Dusty's sitting there trying to fix her umbrella.
Yeah.
She obviously is unhappy about being there. She is driven out into this hailstorm.
Yep.
For this man, and he is out here confessing his love to somebody else.
Yeah.
And there's been a little bit of
all right, hold on.
I'm not done. There's a little bit of, especially if she can hear it, there's an assumption that other people who are sitting near her can hear it as well.
Oh, of course.
There's embarrassment on top of the sadness. And so I feel like she is trying to hold some composure, but she is probably also being relieved by the fact that it's raining, that if she is crying in this moment, no one can tell.
I get that.
So that's why I think that they decided to leave that on there, because you're right. They do stay in that shot a little long. I don't feel like they stayed on it too long, because it's trying to show Dusty showing her this kindness at this time also. And she's probably, I get the impression that the whole movie, whether they communicated it clearly or not, she's not a fan of Dusty. Dusty is very much, very person.
Yeah, he has a lot.
She is very calm and reserved, and he is fucking in your face and very proud about it. Very nice person, but just he's just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and we established.
The dog who jumps up and super excited.
We established that upon first meeting, but
so here he is doing this kindness for her, and that might be like, I am at you're doing this kindness for me. I appreciate it. I still kind of dislike you, and the reason why I'm here in the first.
No, and I get that, but those are just minor bads for me. I can't really talk on anything else that really took me out or that I didn't really like, because I had a good time.
I felt like that scene was designed to make you uncomfortable.
Now,
and that's why.
That's fine. And that's fine, because it was meant to be. Because it wasn't so much that I was uncomfortable with it. I just, like I said, I felt it lingered a little too long.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the lingering is I'm sorry. Go ahead, baby.
No, I think you have a point.
Oh, okay. I think it's a
But I am
thing.
going to critique something you keep saying.
That's fine. Go ahead.
He is not professing his love for anybody.
I
don't like how you word it because it
You're
makes
right.
him the villain. If you're talking about that, because he's professing his love to another woman while his fiance is there, is how you're putting it, and that's a douchey thing to do.
It's not. No,
He is lamenting what they lost to her because of her obsession.
Yes.
You are obsessed about this, and that is why you lost me.
That is how I've always interpreted it as
Yes.
well. However, you know how it sounds to his fiance.
No.
You could have had me still.
I wasn't done.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He is saying you were obsessed, and you are so obsessed that you can't focus on the things in front of you, like me. This obsession is why you lost me.
Yes.
Helen Hunt is started. Oh God, I can't let this obsession go because I need to avenge my father. Basically, my name is Inigo Montoya.
You killed my father. Prepared to die. Oh my God! 2 degrees of Carrie Elwes.
It is a revenge film.
But she realizes that he's right.
Yes.
And that she did lose him because of her own actions.
Yes.
But she's not going to admit that to him
Oh,
yet.
of course not.
And then you have the third party, the current fiance, who is just realizing, just like she did in the diner at the very beginning when she's like, oh, you're still in love with him. Oh. Neat. She's now, fuck. He's still in love with her too.
Yeah.
And
Why
she hadn't done anything.
She's a relationship therapist.
Exactly. And that just makes all the more sense why she catches on to it. And it's this beautiful moment where she's like, I can't. I take it back.
The tornado killed Inigo Montoya's father. I will watch it.
Yes! That works. It's on HBO Max. So it's just this lady, or it's this woman realizing that, fuck, my fiance is in love with somebody else. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's his current wife.
Yeah.
Granted, ex-wife, but current wife.
Well, they're not divorced.
They're legally married still.
Yeah.
So I can't get in the middle of this.
Yeah.
And she takes her moment to process. She takes her moment to process, and I think she was leaving before the F4 hit. But then the F4 hit, and she was just like, no. So I just wanted to just tweak that little thing.
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry if I put it in such a reductionist way. I think that's what I was doing.
Thank you.
But I will not. But I'm gonna say that I think she's trying to decide in that moment during the motel room before F4 hits. Do I want to get in the middle of this?
I think that's what that processing is. Yeah.
Do I want to? Is this something that I want to fight for? And then F4 hits, and she realizes, oh, this is something that they are into that I'm not, and I cannot. Nah, I'm done.
That was probably the tipping point. I will agree to that, but I don't think she would have stuck around anyways, because I think she realized that she was outmatched anyway.
Yeah.
The F4 just kind of solidified it. We're done. I'm going in the opposite direction.
Blew away any semblance I had of thinking that this was gonna work.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fine. Did you have any other?
Nope.
Bad? Okay.
Nope, I'm done.
You were on your bad, weren't you?
Yeah. I'm going to my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay, so there were some conveniences in the script that you would rip any other movie for. So I want to take some time and talk about there are some screenwriter conveniences in this fucking script.
Okay.
Jumping out of the cornfield onto the highway right when Jonas is passing. Interesting. Moving out of the way for a van and then acting like he ran you off the road when he did.
He swerved.
But no. Behind him at first. He had to give him the room.
Yeah, the van was behind him.
Let him pass.
He just swerved over onto the piping.
The van, the van was trying to pass him.
It's weirdly edited.
It is. The van was trying to pass him. He is now moved over, and the van is next to him, and then the van swerves towards him.
I never really saw the van swerve.
And
it did swerve a little bit towards him.
And at that point, he's trying to get out of the way, and it takes him off the road. Now, remember, this is also a country road where it's not very well paved.
No.
And I don't know how powerful either the truck or the van are in terms of like not horsepower, but like wheel drive or whatever, or anything like that. And like it probably rained recently because there's a whole bunch of storming and shit going on in the area. Like he might have just honestly lost control doing that, just getting out the way. He might have overcorrected, if anything.
Do we think that Carrie Elway's character, while a dick and an asshole, do we think he's an idiot?
I don't think he is as smart as he thinks he is.
That's granted, but he's smart enough to become a scientist and have a team, right? At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sees Bill.
Yeah.
He knows Bill's here.
Yeah.
And he decides he's going to put out a presentation for a design that he stole right in front of him.
Yeah, because he's also a dick.
And he's also an egomaniac.
Well,
so maybe.
However,
Still
is he really
convenient.
going to be that stupid as to be that close to a fucking F5 and not think, hey, maybe this thing might shift its tracks? Or am I just not simply close enough that a debris might come around and smash into me? That's one of my sins.
There are conveniences in the script throughout that needs to be noted.
Okay.
Yes.
That while it's a fun movie, there are certainly things that are put there for convenience of the screen.
Okay.
Just note that real quick.
Okay.
The CGI satellite at the beginning is almost film breaking. It's bad.
Right.
Super bad.
It's mid-90s, I'm not forgetting.
The good news is that terrible CGI then eventually fades into a computer screen.
Yeah.
So I just act like it's the computer screensaver and someo's waking the computer up
Nice.
and we go into the
There
script.
you
So
go.
that's what I'm going with. Because screensavers can look that bad and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a screensaver?
Oh my god.
We still have them.
No one has a computer anymore.
People have laptops.
It's the screen on your phone when you open it, your lock screen.
Oh.
It's the lock screen.
It's the lock screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. There's a couple of stilted script moments. Not much. It's mostly to push the action along. A lot of it has to do with Carrie Elway's. He did a great job, but I also read in the trivia that a lot of his shit was left on the cutting room floor. And I'd really like to see a director's cut of this movie.
Does one exist?
I wish there was. Because apparently this was a rated R film at first. And that's why at the very beginning, the first word out of Adult Joe's mouth is fuck.
Fuck, yeah.
And I would turn to you, I'm like, I never realized that. And I saw in the trivia, it's because they muted it. Because it was a rated R movie that they cut down to PG-13. Which left a lot of Dusty and Carrie Elway's on the cutting room floor.
Ah.
Yeah. So because of that, I feel like those cuts made some of his moments a little stilted.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't quite as good or as powerful as it could have been.
Fair enough.
But I digress. I'm nitpicking at this point because this is a great movie.
Yeah.
CGI in certain parts.
Yep.
I noticed it was dated. This is the first time I've noticed that it was dated a little bit. So it took a while. So it's definitely good.
No, and again, we're in 2024. We have
30 years.
Yeah.
Jamie Gertz. I said Average before. It's Jamie Gertz.
Okay.
Yeah. We have we have updated technology where you can really see the CGI. In a lot of places, it's forgivable because of the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
This movie is Godzilla -1.
Okay.
Because you guys there was a lot of positive about Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
But there was just shots where you could see the strings and you didn't care because it was that good.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I got you. All right. So that's my bad. I think I'm done with my bad.
All right,
so we go to ugly.
Well, no, what about her bad?
I thought you did your bad.
No, she
I
didn't.
did my bad.
I thought you started with your bad. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
I'm sorry.
Tuesday started with bad.
Yeah.
Don't yell at me.
What are you trying to skip me?
I did not try to skip. That's the same thing as saying he's professing her love for her. I did not try to skip you. I thought you had went.
I'm summarizing. So yeah, like everyone else, my bad is the CGI. But I'm not gonna harp on it because it's the '90s. Some of it was acceptable, but then a lot of it is still passable if you're not looking too hard. And so I just don't bother caring about it. But it is a bad. On the same vein of conveniences is movie magic bullshit. And specifically what I mean is plot armor. And the very nature of them being as close as they are to the Twister.
That's also what I meant of conveniences.
Yeah.
Oh, that bridge is not keeping them under there at the very beginning of F1.
What? Now that
no chance.
I wonder how. I feel like someone did a MythBusters or whatever on it, and I haven't looked it up to see if that's true or not. But because there's a wind tunnel effect that happens with stuff like that can potentially do
there's
it.
also and now that you bring this up and I can go back and put it in my bad is during when they're in the F5 and they're tied down and how calm they are during when they're in the eye of the storm. You are way too fucking calm and just amazed by the shot of being in the eye of the storm. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that felt a little too.
The only thing I could think of when they got pulled into the eye of the tornado, and it's probably because I just saw it the other day.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of while they're sitting there looking at it all, and I'm like, it's not that the wind is blowing. It's what? The wind is blowing.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I swear to God, we watched Twister on CinemaSins or whatever, and I wonder if they didn't use that line somewhere in the fucking ending. They should have.
What is that from?
So that's Ron White's stand-up special. And he's talking about a guy who was staying because he wanted to strap himself to a tree during Hurricane Andrew, because he wanted to prove that even at 65 years old that he was in good enough shape to withstand the winds of a force-pretty hurricane.
Right.
Okay. I'm just doing the joke at this point.
No, yeah, that's fine.
It's not that the wind is blowing. It's what the wind is blowing.
A blowing.
If you get hit with a Volvo, it doesn't matter how many sit-ups you did that day.
Yeah, basically.
It's one of my favorite Ron White jokes.
And I actually think on a regular basis, especially when the weather is not turning badly out there, I try to remind myself, maybe it's not okay that I'm out here watching the storm. I should probably step back inside. But yeah, it's the plot armor bullshit. It's basically why Carrie Elway can be as close as he was to the fucking tornado and not necessarily survive, obviously, but they can be almost about as close and nothing's being thrown their way. Now, at some point, the Twister comes chasing after them, but it seems like it was there just long enough for them to send the truck into there. Yeah. We're not going to talk about how likely it is that you'd be able to keep a vehicle going like that without help or something like that, or going straight to a cornfield on cruise control. I don't know. I feel like that's bullshit.
Cruise control does not lock the fucking steering wheel
with the doors wide open.
Yeah. Convenience.
Yeah.
Movie making bullshit that we're just supposed to accept at face value because it. Oh, Kitty. Yeah, she's choosing violence against Juice. Because we need it to happen for the film and for theatrical effect or whatever, and for us to help believe that the characters are in danger or are now safe. And some of it, you let it go because everything else has worked so much, but that whole third act is full of it. Just
and I was sitting there, I was watching the third act, I'm like, this is all bullshit. But I realized what it is that the first and second act are paced and built so well.
You just fucked.
The filmmakers pretty much went. Someone turned to Steven Spielberg and said, "They drive through a fucking house." And Steven Spielberg turned to him and said, "First act, second act, got him. I can do whatever the fuck I want in the third act."
Well,
and he's right.
Well,
I'm so invested at this point. Let's go.
I don't even know if that's on Steven. I feel like that's more on
John DeBont.
On John DeBont.
Whoever it was, someone turned to him and said, "I've got them so much after the first and second act. I can do whatever the fuck I want."
John DeBont went to Steven Spielberg. He said, "Steven, What can I do in the third act?
Whatever you want.
Well, Michael, let's not forget the people who the
Michael Crichton
and his wife who wrote the script to be able. Now, granted, obviously there were treatments.
Joss Whedon was the script doctor.
I wonder if some of
He
the
probably did the third act.
Bullshit.
And he probably did the third act.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We need to make this more exciting.
So what do we do? Drive through a house.
So not even drive through a house. And like Simpsons pointed this out that I never noticed once before. That they drive in through what looks like the bottom floor.
Yeah, and they go up
through some steps and then still come out on the bottom floor.
No, they come up the second floor. No?
No. You know the way that house is oriented, the roof is over here. They come out on this side.
Yeah, they come up steps and then they come out here.
They go through a bedroom and a kitchen and a big bathroom that should belong where they are, and that house's anatomy, and then they come out on the other side somehow.
But wasn't the house horizontal?
Doesn't matter.
No,
if you're going from one side of the first floor to the other side of the first floor, horizontally, you should not be going downstairs.
Fair enough.
I want to say, for a movie that we have lauded this whole time as being fantastic and amazing, we sure are diving into this plot.
This is the only time that I've ever, not only time, this is I've discussed it. This is the first time I've analyzed this film. I have loved it. I've thought about why I loved it, but I've never actually gone into depth about why I love it. But I have to also be honest about some of the things that it doesn't do right.
Yeah.
And I've always had a fucking problem, and Simpsons also pointed this out too, where they're going through and they have the debris field of tractors, and one of them smashes into the passenger side window, which to the very least probably actually caused possible damage to the person inside.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even show up in the next
it cuts back and the window's fine.
Why did you leave that in? Why? Did you not just I get it, like maybe you can't reshoot because you guys reshot the trailer scene. Oh, by the way, more plot armor, because if you're driving through, there's always a problem with me when you like drive through like an explosion. It doesn't incinerate and disintegrate the materials that were there to hold the pieces together. There's shrapnel, debris, and physical structures that existed that are now on fire that you are driving through. So it's not a ball of fire or a wall of fire. It is shit aflame. And that stuff may drag when you drive through it, or stop you if you try to drive through it.
So there are some issues with the script.
Yes.
We can agree with that.
The last thing I was going to say, and I have it as a question mark because I haven't decided if I want to put it under ugly or even really make a point about it at all, and that is home wrecking.
No, because they already had a home. If anything, Melinda's the home.
That's why it's a question mark. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. Because you have, like, my Aunt Meg, and, like, she's like, yeah, no, like, I mean, but he's downstairs.
Aunt Meg's the closest one to a homewrecker in the entire movie.
I'm not saying who was doing the homewrecking. I'm saying.
She's questioning the idea of it.
Fair. Like, I mean, I guess.
And how dare you speak an ill word about Aunt Meg?
I know.
Aunt Meg is a saint.
I'm just
with steak and eggs.
I'm just pointing it out as a thing because I feel like I'm obligated to say something about it. I'm not going to stress it too hard. I'm just going to say like that is something that seems to be alluded to in the film, but I'm going to pull back and
I'm not going to go there with you. I got to disagree with you.
That's fine. That's fine. I said I had a question mark next to it. I had a question mark next to it. I'm not vehemently defending it.
Is that it for your bad?
That is it for my bad.
Okay, would you like to do your ugly?
I would actually, because actually you're kind of tied to the home wrecking thing, because it was actually like, I didn't know which one to put it in. Okay. So that is a problematic thing. But it is also like, I don't know if I'm going to trust it too much, so now I'm moving past it. Yeah. The other one is, and again, kind of not really a big one, because again, 90s, unfortunately, you think 90s would be better about this, but it's fine, whatever. It's still one of my favorite fucking movies. There's not a whole lot of diversity.
No.
They don't make any attempt to, and it's fine.
All white people.
It's Oklahoma, but like they're obviously not like all from Oklahoma. Joe is probably the only one who's actually from Oklahoma in the entire cast.
But how many black people do you know that are willing to run at a tornado, besides you?
My dad.
Isn't it a general rule that when there's danger,
nope
is the thing?
That's why I have a question mark.
I'm just saying.
That's why I have a question mark next to it.
Before we push that this needs to be diverse, does it?
I will say there is one black face in that entire cast.
There is.
And it's on Carrie Elway's team.
Yeah, he is a bad guy, yeah. Well, he's not really a bad guy. He's a scientist.
No, yeah, but that's the thing. Like the scientists apparently have more diversity than the other people. The people that we don't.
Because corporate spheres, they need diversity.
No, yeah. No, but as far as the main cast, no, there is no diversity. There is. I mean, there's one girl's Asian, I believe, and or Hispanic looking.
He's talking about Belter's wife.
What's his wife?
Girlfriend?
I
Partner?
Friends.
You never know, because it doesn't tell you.
Yeah, I had queer coding off of her more than anything, but that might just because, like, that was... She's also a very much...
You could definitely go that way, but I always saw it as they were a married couple who hung out with them all the time, and that's why she is, like... instinctually there to protect Helen.
Okay, so this is
well, but she's the only other woman on the team.
But it feels like there's more of a connection there than that. But then the husbands are like, nah, this isn't our business.
I don't think that they're husband and wife. They never.
Maybe not. No, they never introduced them in any. They never go into it at all.
Really good friends.
Very possible. That's fine.
But I will say that yes, I still have a question mark next to it because it's as ugly as in like we should be doing better by this point. But it's also like I know we haven't. And also, I still love the movie, so I'm going to ignore it. But also, white people shit. So, like, I mean, can I really fault him for doing what we already, like, talk about it being in the first place? So I'm just going to let it go. The other thing that kind of bothered me, that I put it under ugly and not under bad, because I felt like it was a filmmaking choice in terms of the script, and not necessarily in filmmaking applying with, like, the lighting and things like that.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Okay. Is, the scene where, like, Joe and Bill are fighting on the hill, and he's like, yeah, it's about your dad or whatever, and like, you know, I know you have past trauma, but just get over it. And I'm like, I understand why you need me to get over it. I understand why I probably do need to do a healthier thing with it where I'm going right now, but your way of trying to tell me, like, I know your dad died long ago, but it happened a long time ago, like, okay. Tell me about that last time that your parent passed away that you just got over it whenever that fucking happened. No. And that's fine. And I'm sure it happened in a incredibly traumatic way that it did for me as a 5-year-old.
I'll fight you on this one. No.
No, I get...
Bill is not saying just get over your trauma. He's like, this is why you lost me.
No, I understand. Baby, I understand what he's trying to say. I'm saying the way in which he did it, the way in which it was written in the script...
is very natural and correct, yes. That is naturally how that would happen.
Just get over
Bill
it.
Bill is not a perfect human being.
I feel like I just described a better way in explaining what happened in that. No, it's like, okay. This is something that she obviously needs help with.
Yeah.
She has still not dealt with the trauma of losing her father the way that she did.
Yeah.
It's propelled her to be obsessive and successful in what she's doing, but it's now cost her current relationships.
Yeah.
And that's something that obviously she needs to work through. But telling her to get over it is where I draw the fucking line.
Alright, that's fair.
That's what I'm saying is that I think that they make light of her trauma to an extent. They build it all the time, building is being important, and then you think as her husband, he would understand, not necessarily that she needs to still revel in that trauma, but like we need to figure out a better way. Exactly, thank you, Strange. And we need to figure out a better way for you to handle it or deal with it, but just getting over it, because 90s version of therapy is, just get over it.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that one.
That's the only actual
Your
ugly I have.
ugly juice.
Don't have any.
I do not either. I don't have any ugly.
That is the only ugly
If it was going to be something, it was going to be the CGI satellite at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, on the fly, came up with that screensaver thing, and I think I'm just going to live like that from now on.
No, that's fine.
how I'm going to watch it.
Well, again, when we talk about ugly, it's choices that were made that go against what the film's trying to do.
Yeah.
And
that's the best I could do with the 90s.
Yeah, So as far as that, no, I don't have anything. You don't have anything. So yeah.
So out of 10.
Oh, great.
Oh, great. So in this specific case, I want to do favorite part.
Okay.
Just because it's one of those movies we all like it.
Yeah.
It should just be your favorite part. So go ahead.
Lunch.
Oh, with Aunt Meg?
The whole scene with Lunch, when they show up, from the minute they show up, you get an introduction of who Meg is, like, it's very obvious his relationship with him, her reaction to Billy showing up.
Yeah. And Bill's reaction to her.
And Bill's reaction to her, there's because like this is basically the woman. I still have to understand. I guess it wasn't really important. Meg's relationship to
Joe.
To Joe. I know she's her aunt. I haven't figured out if she's her paternal or maternal sister.
Okay.
Or aunt or whatever. Like, so dad died, and presumably the aunt raised her. Mom wasn't around, maybe because she couldn't deal with the grief, or she had health issues of her own,
Yeah,
or
they already
whatever.
go over that. Yeah.
No, yeah. So Meg has been watching this child grow up for the basically majority of her life, and so there's obviously a very close relationship. So Bill would know who she is and be really close to her as well.
Yeah.
And so there's real affection there, and it's lovely to see when they first show up. Melissa is an entire fish out of water the whole scene, and she continues, which kind of like reinforces the thing that she's an instability within the relationship that is going to have to be resolved at some point.
Yeah.
The whole group who are begging to go see Meg in the first place and how close they are because they're familiar with her as well. They love her. And then the scene when they're actually talking about not only Bill and like that's not like the story itself, kind of give you an idea of Bill's history, the further familiarity of the group, and then discussing more exposition about the tornadoes and exactly building up the case for what's going on. Yeah. And then my favorite scene in the whole thing is when it kind of resolves with an F5 and everyone goes dead silent.
Yeah.
And what is that F5 like? Finger of God. But just so matter of factly, like, can you imagine what that looks like? It would be absolute devastation. And so has anyone ever seen it? And the only people who react are Bill and Meg because they know the only person there who has is the only person who's not in the room.
Yeah.
And it's what killed her dad.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just, I love that whole scene because it tells you everything you need to know about everyone in that fucking show.
Yeah, Strange, you should watch it.
No, Strange, you really should watch this movie.
It's fun. My favorite. So that is also my favorite for the reasons that you said. You broke it down way better than I did. For me, it was just very wholesome.
Yes.
And that's what in this entire movie, in this whole movie of
Matt, one more thing. Just one more thing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
They even it tells you everything you need to know about everybody in that entire scene. It even has a section for Carrie Elway.
Yes.
It even has a part where they're watching him be a douchebag on television.
The interview over.
And their reaction to him.
Yeah. Turn it off.
Yeah.
In a movie with action, with high pace, with high stakes, you get 5 minutes of just wholesome familialness.
Yes.
And it's great.
Yes.
And it's just
family.
Because at the end of that's what these people are.
Yeah.
They're a family. And
family Toretto.
Exactly. It always comes back to family. Strange. You like this I think has.
So Strange said, "Goddamn."
And I'm taking over the parenting role after the parent passes away. This movie's hella relatable to me. Fuck, maybe I will actually watch it.
I think you would enjoy it, Strange, and yes, it is kind of relatable. I really think you should watch it. I think you just enjoy the hell out of it. Okay, so you both had the dinner.
Yeah.
Lunch.
Lunch. Okay.
Food.
I think I have to go with the drive-in.
Okay.
That was my second favorite.
Just the way it turns on a dime and just punches you in the face with, okay, this is real, and they're in danger.
Yeah.
And then they almost kill a guy that you really don't get anything from.
Lawrence.
But damn, no, it's not Lawrence. Lawrence is the kid.
Oh, you mean the guy with the glasses?
The guy who listens to classical.
Yeah.
The guy with the glasses.
Yeah, they almost kill him, and you're like, no, like but you haven't got anything from him. But you know, if any member of this family is lost, it's going to be devastating for everyone.
Yeah.
So just him being in the family, like, no, give him plot armor, please.
I feel like at some point someone had to have like gone through. I'm sure there's more scenes in the movie that were shot that weren't like actually like made to obviously Gary Elway, but like some of the conversations they had with each other and stuff like that, especially in the very beginning when they're all doing whatever role they're doing. And that's the other thing that parts of the levels I'm talking about. So like they're all doing a different task because they all have some things different that they're responsible for within the team dynamic. You have Rabbit and whatever his name is talking about the maps. Roll the maps. Like, you know, they're talking before Bill even gets in the set. Like, oh, hey, Bill. Like, what the fuck are you doing
Bill,
here?
you're back.
I feel like
they
probably created, like, someone somewhere, obviously they probably do some movies anyway, but the really good ones have gotten everyone an idea of who their characters are, and they may have actually interacted together as a team before they filmed, so that you can get that sense. It's well known because they all actually feel it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they actually did that, and there's all fantastic actors, and they all came in like day one, like, we got this. Or they actually spent any time like getting together as a group and like actually hanging out, or if the director mandated that they do that and then they actually did it and it worked out. I don't know, but I just know that whatever they did fucking worked, and they make it a point to have everyone doing something different throughout the entire film.
Yeah. No, yeah. So I mean, drive-in I just think was perfect. I did get a nice little thing where once the tornado hits the big screen, all the couples are running, and for every single time I've watched this movie, I'm watching the screen get ripped apart.
Yes.
Because you see Jack Nicholson tearing down the door, and the iconic scene, and projected on a tornado, and it's just like, it's an iconic shot.
It's great. No,
this time, I decided to watch. Oh, it's actually kind of fitting because the tornado's breaking into their night, like Jack Nicholson.
Levels
to the shit. But this time, I decided to watch the extras.
Okay.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
Scurry, flee, panic.
Yeah, I was doing that too this time.
And everyone panicked, but on the left side, there was a couple that very obviously, okay, it's time to run, dearie, here we go.
Oh,
and it was just no fear, no emotion, just, okay, we're supposed to run this way now. And I'm like, I'm so glad it took me this long to notice you fuckers.
No, I get it.
But anyway, now I'm going to be looking out for them on the next watch.
But, no, the drive-in, I feel like, is perfect, and no notes. So...
I will say one thing with that character that I appreciate after that and after Wakita, after that 4 hits. Is that the dog becomes his travel buddy.
Yeah.
So there's
we've been through some shit, bud. I got you.
All right, so out of 10.
Out of 10. I already had this before the movie started, but go ahead.
8.5.
Okay.
So I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna make a comment, and I'm glad I didn't, because obviously you guys knew where this is gonna go. But if Meg had died, this would have gotten a much lower score.
Oh, you didn't react a whole lot when she was in danger?
Because I wanted to see where it was going to go.
I didn't know if your butthole was puckered.
Internally, my mind was like, don't do this to me. I cannot take another aunt dying for the 3rd fucking time. You've taken May from me twice. World, do not do this to me again. And no. But no, for me, I will definitely go 8.
Yep. So I think we're actually all in agreement here. I had decided before this movie, because emotionally, I want to give it a 10 just because I love this movie.
I know.
So my rating is officially going to be an 8 with a little heart emoji right next to it. Because I still love you.
It's an 8.
But you are an 8.
It's an 8-point heart.
Yes. 8 heart.
Excellent. All right, so... Own it, stream it, rent it.
Own it.
I don't understand Jinx.
It's a classic.
Okay.
In fact, if you can...
It's a must-have.
I looked this up, so if you can find it... give me a second. So there is so the BBFC also cut that's alternate versions of cut the VHS DVD. But I guess there's a version that actually has it in there.
Mm.
So, yeah, if you can own it, then you will have some of the stuff that gets cut out in there. I guess I'm looking for it.
Also, the deleted scenes?
The swearing is very distinct. Well, it's very indistinct, and we didn't hear it in the cinema version, but the VHS and DVD versions are cut to remove.
No, it's strange. Absolutely stream it. It's on HBO Max.
I was going to say stream it. It's really fun. But this is definitely one of those where if you really like it, then own it.
Yeah.
But it's stream acceptable.
It's also one that, we bought it in regards to we streamed on the DVR and left it on the DVR. It's got its own little folder of movies that we just want to leave. But I completely agree with streaming it because this is a movie where I can just live with streaming it because whenever it pops up on a streaming service, I'll fucking watch it.
There you go.
But I don't have to own it because it's not one of those I'm sitting here like, I want to watch Twister. For me.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing my doom scroll of Netflix, like, what the fuck do I want to watch? Oh, Twister! That's what I want to watch.
But what I will say is, if at one point, whenever the internet decides to just go on a crapshoot and you have no access to the internet and you're looking through your movie collection and you want to because you have a movie collection still on physical media to play on your DVD player or your PlayStation or your Xbox or your PS4 or your PS3 or your Xbox One or Xbox 360, etc., then own it because you never know. One day you might not be able to watch it streaming, and that's kind of the whole. That's one of those things where you want to have a variety on physical media as well.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially if you have affordable space to have a physical media collection nowadays.
Yeah.
I recommend owning it anyway because, especially if you like this movie at all, you're probably not watching it multiple times like I do.
There's that too.
And so it's not a problem just owning it. It's also just making sure you have I would want to see some of any of the extended scenes or cuts that may be on the DVD, because there's a 4K version and remastered versions that they may have included now that you may not have in the original version if you were to get one of the ones that was released in '97, whenever the DVD came out. Yeah. And I mean, it's probably not gonna be that expensive. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to find. So you may as well just own it, but definitely if you're the main way in which you watch it is to watch it on stream, then do so. I would not necessarily recommend, if you own it, going out and then paying Amazon Prime $4 every time you feel like watching it because you don't feel like popping in a DVD or you don't have a DVD player. If you have Max, obviously that would be the way to go. But if you don't own a copy and you feel like watching it randomly on your own or something like that, then by all means go ahead and rent it off Amazon Prime every time you feel like it. It's $4. It's not a big deal. But that's why I say just own it, because if you're like me, you're going to watch it multiple times anyway. So you may as well just have it. So...
All right.
Vaguely though, the Pan and Scan US VHS version contains an animated sequence before the main start that explains the definition of Twister, featuring Bugs Bunny and the
Tasmanian Devil. Yep.
Yes. Oh, why does that sound familiar?
Because it was on the VHS, and basically all it is Bugs Bunny running away from the Tasmanian Devil, and Tasmanian Devil wreaking all this destruction behind him, and then eventually he catches up, and he goes, and does his thing, and Bugs Bunny looks at the camera and goes, ugh, and it cuts out. That's the entire cartoon.
Well, this is a Warner Brothers movie, so
yeah,
that makes sense.
But no, I vividly remember that.
Okay.
Because just like I vividly remember the only trailer on the VHS before Independence Day was Volcano.
That sounds about right.
And it's like there's 357,000 volcanoes in the world that we know about, and only one that we don't. And then, quick cut of all this panic and disaster over the word volcano.
Yeah, I think sometimes owning the VHS and DVD versions is interesting, just in order to have those trailers.
The nostalgic, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right.
Yeah, so that's that,
That's
right?
that, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a spin this week because next week
we are getting shell-shocked.
Get your notes out.
You do a better Chaz.
Strange, keep your notes because next Wednesday we will be discussing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 90.
From 1990, yes. We will not be sponsored by Squeegees next week. Because I don't know if I discussed this on stream or not, but
Domino's.
Yes, we are going to be having Domino's for this movie specifically because of the product placement. And every time I watch this movie, I get a craving for fucking Domino's.
And just for the hell of it, can you see if they sell a New York style?
I think they do.
We gotta get the New York style.
I think they do.
I have a wedding next week, and D&D. Who knows if I'll join?
That's on Wednesday. Your wedding.
But I'm sure they're.
It's the wedding week.
Okay, I apologize. Then I know
we'll see if you jump in. If you don't, then you can always come back and watch and put your comments in the comment box and like the video and subscribe and share. With that being said, so look forward to that next week. We're gonna call it here. For No Collar Entertainment, this is Matt.
Zarian.
This is Juice.
Well,
we gotta go, Julia. We got cows.
Peace.
God damn it.
Before we go, I'm gonna say real quick. I saw a TikTok, and I showed it to Matt so he knows what I'm talking about. Where someone was talking about their comfort movies, and one of them was Devil Wears Prada. But the reason why I say it was because one of their comfort movies was also Twister, and they used that scene or whatever, like they're mouthing it along with her. In the comments, someone said that what they do is they use "I gotta go, Julia. We got cows" as a way of saying goodbye. And then all the comments after that were like, "Doing it now."
Yep.
That's the way we're saying goodbye from now on.
So from now on, when you get off the phone with somebody, say, "I gotta go, Julia. We got cows."
Yeah, it's got the twang to it too.
For No Collar Entertainment, this is Matt.
There you are.
This is Juice.
We're out.
We got cows.
Bye.